Yo, it's Go, and welcome to the video. 24 hours has gone by, and we've got the news already that the change that Blizzard plans to make to Starfire on next reset is to add an additional 14% of damage, going from 66% up to 80%. And that's on your next Starfire cast after you've Starsurge. And even in the video I did yesterday, the numbers were looking pretty high as we gain more spell power and then as we continue to level up in the next phases to come. So let's look at the difference between what 66% would have given us at level 40 and what 80% is going to give us at level 40. And then we can take a look at level 50 and level 60. So here we are at level 40. Behind me is just the min max damage range for Starfire. So at level 34, it ranges from 212 minimum to 253 maximum with 0 spell power and 0 talents. So up here in this base, I currently have 122 spell power, so I use that as my minimum example. So if I take that 212, I add 10% for Moon Fury's talent, adding 10% damage, which is just for the base of the spell, and then added the 122 spell power. My current range for non-crits with 122 spell power is 355 to 400 for each Starfire. With the 66% buff that we were going to get, I would have gone up to 590 to 664. But with the 80%, I'm going to get an extra 49 damage on my minimum and an extra 56 damage on my maximum. And then I continued on what the base would be with spell power at 150 spell power, 175, 200, 225. What those values would change if we only had 66%. And then again, what it would look like with an extra 80%. So at 150 spell power, we're getting an extra 53 damage minimum, 60 damage maximum, and so on and so forth. But as of Tuesday, with my current gear, if I get nothing from Gnomer, no upgrades, I'm just thinking PvP aspect wise, this means I could have a 1440 crit against other players. And then once I get more towards full best in slot, I'll be critting for over 1800 potentially. And I don't see other PvP players liking that very much if they were complaining as much as they were about Starsurge's damage. I don't know what Blizzard is thinking with this change. It is a casted Starfire, but I was PvPing a lot last night, and it wasn't too difficult to get Starfire cast off against any of the other classes. Let's take a look at level 50 and see what those numbers are looking like, because it just gets crazier and crazier with each level band that we look at. For level 50, I started with what I ended with spell power wise for the 40 bracket. So started with 225, went up to 325. And with that amount of spell power, we'd be getting 2800 plus crits with this 80% buff that we're going to get. But even the non-crits, everything is going to be over 1000. And if it was bugging you that I was covering the range, there's the range for the base, 362 to 428. Might as well skip to level 60, show you that minimum range as well, 496 to 584. And I did use rank 7, which back in Classic Era, this was one of the books that dropped from AQ20. So I'm assuming we're going to get this right away. Maybe it takes a while and we only have rank 6 for a little bit, but eventually I imagine we're going to have our rank 7. Probably even going to have more spell power than what I have shown here. But the maximum with 425 spell power with our 80% Starfire bonus is a 1921 non-crit, meaning we'd be critting for over 3800 at level 60 for a 1.5 second cast if it has Nature's Grace and the Eclipse proc. So after looking at all these numbers, I think it's just going to scale way too good, and they're going to have to make yet another change down the line. It could be sooner rather than later. So we'll have to keep an eye on what they end up deciding to do. If there is a change, what would you like to see instead of Starfire having all of its damage from Starsurge offset into that? Would you like to see more dot damage, more damage from Wrath, damage put back into Starsurge? Let me know, and I'll be blasting with you all on reset day. Oh, and before I get out of here, the Starsurge crit bug appears to be fixed. I was just Starsurging around Mulgore and was hardly getting any crits. It might even be bugged the opposite direction and not be gaining any crit at all from Eclipse now, so that would be a big yikes. Hopefully we're supposed to at least get the 30% from Solar, but who knows?